Welcome to the Ash Wastes. If you're going to survive out here in the dunes, there are a few things you need to know. Necromunda Ash Wastes is a game of brutal gang warfare set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, pitting fighters against each other in a bitter struggle for supremacy. Each player controls a gang of between 5 and 10 fighters, plus a few vehicles, or perhaps some giant bloodthirsty bugs. Every fighter in a gang has their own fighter card, which details their profile and skills. These cards show you how your fighters can engage with the enemy. Your vehicles have similar cards, so you can see how your Outrider Quads can zip across the sand. Each turn starts with the priority phase, where both players roll off to see who has priority. Whoever wins priority gets to activate one of their fighters first. During the action phase, you choose one of your ready fighters and perform up to 2 actions with them. Basic actions, like shooting or taking cover, can only be made once during a fighter's activation. Simple actions, such as moving or reloading, can be taken more than once during a fighter's activation. Double actions, such as charging into combat, count as both of your fighter's actions. Vehicles have their own list of actions and can move and reload, drift and spin, or even ram or go full throttle. Your fighter cards also list their weapons and war gear. Now this is the stuff that'll keep you alive, so pay attention. This shows a weapon's range, strength, armor penetration, damage, and other characteristics. When shooting with a ranged weapon, you have to target the nearest enemy fighter, unless you can pass a cool check. If you can keep your cool in the Ash Wastes, you get to shoot at anyone that's in your line of sight and vision arc. To hit your target, you have to roll equal or above your fighter's ballistic skill characteristic. At the same time as you make the hit roll, you have to roll a firepower dice. Be careful though, if you roll this symbol, you might run out of bullets and need to reload. Let's just hope you survive long enough to get the chance. Any fighter who gets hit is automatically pinned. They're just trying to keep their heads down. For each hit, you roll to wound your target. A wound roll compares the weapon's strength characteristic and the target's toughness. The bigger the gun, the more likely it'll bring them down. Now, a vehicle's toughness is determined by which side you're attacking from. Some fighters and vehicles are lucky enough to have armor. They get to make a save roll to avoid damage. Most fighters can only take a single wound, but some are sturdy enough to shrug off a slug or two. When a fighter is reduced to 0 wounds, the attacking player rolls an injury dice to see what happens. Now, you can get lucky and just take a flesh wound, or you can fetch a serious injury, or even get taken right out of action for the rest of the game. Vehicles are a bit different. When a vehicle takes a wound, roll a location dice to see which bit's been winged. Every time you wound a vehicle, roll a number of damage dice equal to that weapon's damage characteristic. Depending on the result, you can lose hull points. When you've lost your last hull point, your vehicle is wrecked, and the crew with it. How you claim victory in the open air of the Ash Wastes will depend on which scenario you're playing. But one thing is always true: only the strongest survive. That's just a taste of battle out in the wastes. Make sure you check out the Necromunda Ash Wastes rulebook to find out how to fight in melee, learn how to clamber over terrain, and discover how vehicles can drift and swerve. So fasten your goggles, grab your autogun, and prove yourself the real master of the Ash Wastes with a hail of bullets.